Hi guys, Vince the Prince of Pop here, and whether you know him as the world's strongest man or sexual chocolate, Mark Henry is going to be bringing his Hall of Pain into the WWE Hall of Fame this year at WrestleMania. Most of you are probably aware of Mark Henry's long tenure as a WWE superstar, but what you may not know is his world's strongest man moniker is legitimate. Before joining the WWE, he was a former Olympic weightlifter and a competing powerlifter. Now, the reason I'm doing this video today is to make a case for Mark Henry as the world's strongest man. And sure, there are tons of world's strongest men out there. Bill Kazmaier, Mariusz Pudzianowski, Eddie Hall is the current world's strongest man. I am not a weightlifter nor a powerlifter or a bodybuilder by any means. I am just interested in the sport. I don't know a ton about strongman competitions, but I did a little research and I'd like to make my case for Mark Henry as the world's strongest man. Now, to tell this story, I have to go all the way back to 1892. French strongman Apollon discovered railway wheels that are now called Apollon's wheels or Apollon's axle in the weightlifting community. Apollon's wheels are a legitimate set of railway wheels connected by a railway axle. It weighs 166 kilograms or about 366 pounds. Now, the funny thing about Apollon's wheels is that there's no documented proof that Apollon actually ever made a successful lift with them. In fact, in my research, I found that there were successful lifts in 1930, 1949, and 1954. 5 successful lifts within that time frame, but none from Apollon himself. In 2002, the Arnold Classic unveiled a new event. Guess what it is? Apollon's Wheels. During the 2002 event, other lifters were struggling to even make a first attempt at lifting the famous axle. However, when Bill Kazmaier called Mark Henry to the stage, this is what happened.
Mr. Mark Henry, two-time an Olympian. Remember that as he picks up this wheel. Two times by Mark Henry, breaking history. You're looking at the strongest man, Mark Henry from Texas. Down 3 times.
Mark Henry, in an Arnold Classic first, completed not 1 or 2, but 3 reps of Apollon's wheels, becoming the first weightlifter or strongman to do so in the modern era. Now, while that is impressive, I should let you know that Eddie Hall's current world record from 2017 is at 216 kilograms or about 476 pounds for the Apollon's wheels. That is because in modern times, or more modern times, past 2002, they began to add plates to the side of the wheels. Traditionally, Apollon's wheels was a standardized weight of 166 kilograms or 366 pounds. Now, as bodybuilding and weightlifting have evolved, so has the equipment. Now, I'm going to take you back in time once more, I promise, to 1906. Britain's strongest man, Thomas Inch, developed what we now know as the infamous unliftable Inch Dumbbell. Now, it is not the weight that's the trouble with the Inch Dumbbell. At 172 pounds, it would be a relatively easy lift for any strongman. However, the diameter of the bar connecting the 2 bells is actually 2.38 inches around. So you would have to have a very large hand, not just a large hand, but very strong, small muscles within your hand and a good grip in order to pick this dumbbell off of the ground and bring it to your shoulder and complete the press. Coincidentally, much like Apollon, there is no recorded proof that Thomas Inch ever lifted the 172-pound barbell. In fact, in my research here, it says that there were 4 different bells that were identical at 75 pounds, 140 pounds, 153, and the aforementioned 172. So the gimmick is this. Thomas Inch would bring these weights around to carnivals and strongman competitions and the like, and have the audience attempt to lift the 172-pound bell. Without the proper grip or a big enough hand size, no one was able to complete it from the crowd. He would then bring the bell on the stage and complete the lift by, again, picking the bell off of the ground, bringing it to his shoulder, and completing the press up in the air. In between the time that the audience tested the weight of the bell and the time Mr. Inch completed the lift on stage, an attendant would swap out the bell backstage for one of the 3 lighter bells. In fact, former attendant Edward Ashton would go to these public events and ask Mr. Inch, which bell is it? To which he'd reply, it's the one I'm lifting tonight. So once again, no recorded proof that Thomas Inch ever really lifted the 172-pound, 2.38 diameter inch dumbbell. If you go on YouTube, there are a lot of videos of people attempting this lift. Even the Mountain himself, Thor Bjornsson, from Game of Thrones and from the World's Strongest Man competitions, has not been able to complete the inch lift with the traditional scaled inch dumbbell. Now, if you go on YouTube, you will find a video of what they call Thor's dumbbell, which is much larger at 285 pounds. However, you see in the video that Thor uses 2 hands to pick it off the ground and put it to his shoulder, and then completes the press. So a little bit different than one-handed grip to the shoulder, complete the press. Mark Henry, however, there is documented proof, and I'll go to the tape right now. The inch dumbbell is on the ground. Mark Henry with one hand successfully brings it to his shoulder and completes the press. It's a truly amazing feat, and again, from my research, the only video I've found ever of anyone completing the Thomas Inch lift. Now, one more bit of information for you to help build my case. In 2013, a Texas State high schooler named Andrew Williams, who would later go on to play football for Baylor, broke Mark Henry's 22-year strong record of a combined lift of 2,000 plus pounds. Andrew Williams completed a 2,010-pound combined lift, again breaking a record that lasted for 22 years. So why am I giving you all of this information? Clearly, the records have been broken. Eddie Hall set a new record for the Apollon's wheels. Andrew Williams broke the Texas State weightlifting record that Mark Henry set when he was in high school. However, what I'd like to make my case on is Mark Henry being a pioneer for the modern strongman. Now, I'm sure Mariusz Pudzianowski is a great example of the late 90s, early 2000s strongman. He was a great lifter. But what I mean as a pioneer is that Mark Henry brought notoriety to weightlifting and strongman through his wrestling. He did feats of strength on WWE programming as well. But he was also a pioneer in the fact that he was the first one to complete the Apollon's wheels. If they were adding weights to the Apollon's wheel in 2002 and the way that they're doing it in 2017 and beyond, I believe that in his prime, Mark Henry would match or break Eddie Hall's weightlifting record for Apollon's wheels. The other interesting thing is while the record was broken in Texas, it lasted for 22 years. And again, in 22 years, there are a lot of advancements in technology and the equipment that's used and the training techniques and the supplements or the energy drinks or the Powerades or whatever it is. The technology has improved so much that I believe just the fact that this record stood for 22 years is an impressive feat all by its own. So while those two are contested, the records have been broken, there is one that you can't take away from him, and that's the inch dumbbell. It's an impressive feat. No one's ever done it as far as I can tell in the modern era. I heard an interview with Bill Kazmaier. He says that maybe about 5 people in the world have done it, including himself. I haven't seen a tape of Kazmaier doing it, but if somebody knows of it, please hit me in the comments below. If you know of any other videos where somebody successfully completes the inch dumbbell lift, and that is off the ground with one hand to the shoulder and pressing. That's the only video I want to see. I don't want to see some of the other videos of workouts where people are just kind of gripping it and dropping it. That's not the spirit of the challenge. So if you can find me a successful inch dumbbell completion that's not Mark Henry, please drop it in the comments below. So, this is my case for Mark Henry as the world's strongest man. Not only is he the only person in the modern era, and perhaps one of the only people ever, to complete the inch dumbbell lift, he was a trendsetter in the Apollon's wheels and held that Texas state record for 22 years, a combined total lift of over 2,000 pounds as a high schooler. In conclusion, these lifts, especially the inch dumbbell lift, are why I believe Mark Henry, if not the world's strongest man, has to be in the discussion for at least the top 5. Well guys, this again is part of my new channel relaunch. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click the bell also to get an alert for when I upload new videos. I will be trying to upload new stuff more regularly. Be sure to follow me on social media at OSnapVince. Just give it a search. I'm on a lot of different platforms. But stay tuned here to YouTube, and I will see you next time.